Thank you, Mark. Like AC said there, really appreciate everybody coming here today, especially Joe and Teresa, guys coming all the way from Nashville. So we really appreciate you guys attending today. So like every coach in America probably today or getting ready to get started is going to tell you how excited they are, and we are. And this has been a really, really good off season for us. We're coming back from the bowl win, our winter workouts, our spring practices were really good. This is the first year since I've been here that we did not have to replace any coaches. We added a 10th coach in Dustin Royston in January, but this is the first year we haven't had to replace anybody. We lost our strength coach, Jason Spray, and we replaced him with Matt Hickman, and I can't say enough good things about Matt and his staff and what he's done since he got here beginning of February, the end of January there. So this summer has been really, really outstanding. Our guys, we changed it up a little bit in what we did, and our guys have really responded in a very positive way. And I think we're, along with not having to make coaching changes within our staff, and then what our players did this summer on their own, I think we're way ahead of where we've ever been. I know since I've been here and probably any place I've ever been. So it's been a really good off season, from winter workouts to spring practice to the summer. We'll get started. We'll meet tomorrow. We'll go through all our compliance things we have to do with them, the meetings, formalities, and then we'll get started on Friday morning practice. Most of our practices are going to be in the morning. We'll have a couple in the afternoon, but most of them are going to be in the morning this year. And that way, if we get rain in the morning, we've got the afternoon to adjust our practice schedule. So I know AC will be putting out a practice schedule, itinerary, and everything for you to so you'll know what's going on. But really, really excited. I like our team. I like where we're at right now. And with that, I'll open it up to questions.
The off season kind of like, and how was it different for your guys?
Well, I don't know if it was. I guess if it was different, it was different in the fact that they knew who their position coach was. They knew schematically what we were basically going to do offensively and defensively. So they didn't have those adjustments. And then we focused a lot more, this summer of more position-specific training, offensively and defensively. We cut out some running, but we felt like we made up for the running that we cut out from a conditioning standpoint of what they did on their own, working out, throwing the ball, catching, running routes, and then same thing on defense, going through their different drills and schemes that they're doing on defense. So I don't know if it was so much different in the sense that we did things different. It was just that they didn't have to learn a new offense or a new defense.
Of course, this is the last year you coaching Brent. How much are you going to try to relish that from just the father standpoint, instead of just the coaches watching him go out there one last time, one more year?
Probably no different than I have, these first few years that he's been here. That, I'll reflect back on that, after the season. You look back on, his career and this season and all that. You can reflect on that, but my focus right now is just trying to prepare this team to be the best it can be. And, everybody knows, this, our deal, and it is special. But I'm not going to look at it and say this is the last first practice or this is the last practice before the first game. And I'm not going to get into all that. So just coach and try to prepare this team the best we can.
Now at MTSU, in a year in a profession where 3 or 4 years is max, usually at one place. Why is this place special to you, and how have you changed in 13 years?
Yeah, Joe, it's I think we've all changed. I know I've changed. And to me, you never stay the same as a player, as a coach. You're always trying to learn. I think as I've been in this profession longer and longer each year, I'm more cognizant. I'm more aware of our players in trying to prepare them to where they're physically ready to play at the highest level. And we practice physical, we practice tough, but I think we practice a lot smarter than we did 13 years ago when I first got here. And I think that's where I've changed a little bit. I'm more like this summer, and we used to run 18 110s on conditioning on a Friday, but then they didn't have anything left in the tank to go out and throw and catch and do all that. So cut about half of that out. We'd run 8 or 9, on Fridays. Then they had more in them to go out and throw and catch and defense cover and everything, where they're getting better at their specific position. So just trying to learn and evolve as science gets better, and knowing how to protect players and knowing how to get them to the game at peak performance, peak level. This place is special. I've been very fortunate to be here. I say that all the time, and it starts with our players. I have great respect and appreciation for all the players that have come through here from the very first day to this day. They've sacrificed a lot. They've bought into it, what we've said and tried to do as a coaching staff. So I'm really appreciative of those guys and all the assistant coaches that have come through here, the sacrifices that they've made. I'm very appreciative of them. And then, Chris Massaro and Dr. McPhee, as a coach, you're also very fortunate that I've got the same AD, I've got the same president that hired, me. And that's also hard to say in athletics, in this profession. So, but I love Middle Tennessee. This is my passion, and I just want to make these players as good as they can be and make this program as good as it can be, and that's what drives me every morning.
Rick, as a coach, how much do you appreciate the fact that you've got a quarterback who's been around for so long, going into his senior year? Yes, you use a Richie James, but you have him coming back. And secondly, what do you want to see out of him this year, besides obviously, hopefully, being healthy the whole year? Yeah,
it's always a comfort for a coach at any level, and I've always said this, at high school, college, or in the NFL, if you've got a good quarterback, you've got a chance to be successful. And so you've got a comfort level. Here's a guy that's been in a bunch of big games. He's produced in critical situations. He's a great leader, so he understands what we're doing offensively, and it's a comfort level for a coach. So, and again, for him, or my expectations for him, really are no different any year or any player. Just be the best you can be. Whatever your whatever your potential is, reach that potential. Reach your full potential as an individual and as a team. So obviously you'd like for him to stay healthy, but he's had 2 freak injuries, and nobody works as hard as he does in trying to take care of his body. So those were just unfortunate, freakish injuries. And but having a senior quarterback gives you a comfort level, as a coach. As a coach, you always want to know what you're going to get when the ball's snapped. And with him, with being a senior, you've got a pretty good idea what you're going to get every time the ball's snapped.
Where are you guys at from an injury standpoint right now, especially with some of those guys that missed time in the spring?
Ty Nix will be out for the year. He tore up his knee in spring. Matt Martin will be out for the year, an offensive lineman. He tore up his knee in the spring. And we got a couple guys that are still probably going to be a little, limited going into camp. But for the most part, we're pretty healthy.
You just mentioned that Martin's out for the year. You returned 3 starters on the offensive line, but the depth behind that, a lot of unproven guys you've mentioned to me before. How much of a concern is that on the offensive line, or do you feel like it might be a strength with those starters returning?
Well, you got Chandler Brewer, who's a 4-year starter, played a bunch of games, is a really outstanding player, a great leader for us up front, brings a tough physical mentality to our offensive line, a good competitor, a guy that loves football, a guy that loves to play the game. Carlos has played a bunch of games. Josh Fannin started the last, 3 or 4 games when Pete got hurt. Pete started and played a bunch of games until he got hurt and is a really good player. Amir Luckett, started and played, games last year. So I feel really good, about our offensive line. We signed Will Gilchrist, a junior college guy who's played, at the college level. He wasn't here in the spring. I think we've got more depth. We've got some younger, unproven guys, but I think they're talented guys, that I think we've got as good a depth up front as we've ever had. And those guys had a good spring. They've had a good summer. And, so I think we should be okay. I feel better about our offensive line this year going in than I did our offensive line last year. I thought last year we had a lot more question marks going in to last year than we do this year.
I know we touched on it briefly about the impact of a Kevin Byard, but when you see one of your players leads NFL in interceptions and all eyes now, like what is MTSU about? Can you put what he's done and maybe a Richie James done to this program going forward that people, I know you play Georgia and Vanderbilt, like, oh, that's where Kevin Byard with that. Let's not take this school lightly because of the players. How much does that help positively for this university?
I think it's, all those guys, KB and Benny Cunningham, and, you go through the whole list of guys that have played here that are still in the NFL or played in the NFL and are finished now. But, we've got good players here, and just because they don't go to an SEC school or an ACC school doesn't mean they can't play in the NFL. And our guys, they go through 4 years, 5 years here. They know how to practice. They know how to work. They know how to play. They know what the NFL is looking for. And the NFL knows they're going to get a guy that knows how to work, knows how to compete, has been well coached. And but, I'm proud of Kevin and Benny and, Sammy, all those guys that are still playing, Richie and, out there in camp now, and Marquise Shakur, with the Ravens. We got a lot of guys. So Chavarius out with the Cowboys. So it just, I say it all the time, I'm a broken record, but you can accomplish all your goals here at Middle Tennessee like you can anywhere else. And we got guys on our team this year that'll have an opportunity to play in the NFL as well.
Coach, you and I have talked about it a little bit. What's the new kickoff rule going to do with how you guys prepare and stuff in this fall camp?
It's if you go back statistically after last year and you look at it, if you'd have brought every kickoff, if you'd have started every kickoff return on the 25-yard line, you'd have been 8th in the country in kickoff returns. So, unless you got a dynamic guy back there, I think you're probably going to see a lot of, fair catching. We'll look through camp. We'll see what kind of returners we have and make a decision as we go through camp from that standpoint. But I think you'll probably see more fair catching from all teams. There's 130 Division I FBS teams. 93 of those 130 did not return a kick for a touchdown last year. So the stats, everything tells you that you're probably better off fair catching it. But we'll go through camp and then make a decision as we go through.
Coach, you're looking a little slim and pretty fit going into this camp. What have you been doing this off season to get yourself into shape?
I appreciate you asking that. I appreciate you noticing it. I've had a good summer. I've busted my tail just like those players. I've run, I've exercised, I've tried to eat healthy. I'm ready to go. I'm not at my report date weight yet. I got one more day to get there, but I'm pretty dang close. So I appreciate you saying that.
What is your report date weight?
199.
Where are you at right now?
201. Fasting tonight.
What'll make this a successful camp?
A successful camp that if we get better individually, if every individual improves, last year we had 29 practice opportunities. This year you only get 25. So, if every player gets just a little bit better every day, if they'll just get a little bit better every day individually, and then we improve collectively as a team, that's your goal, is just to get better every day. And obviously you want to stay healthy. Hopefully we can, get through camp healthy, that we show up to the first game with our full arsenal. We got all our players, but I just want to see this team improve every day. Thank you, guys. Appreciate everybody coming, and look forward to talking to you this season.